I grew up being a self-centered kid in school. Sure, I could do fast math, but I did not give a shit about others who could not. I could calculate the cube root of 738 in my head when I was just 12. But when my friends struggling with basic fractions and decimals asked me for help, I turned a blind eye. I hadn't mastered calculus yet. The National Math Olympiad was around the corner, and my parents and teachers had big expectations of me. I needed to focus on myself, and my friends would have done the same thing if they were in my place. I received straight A's in the math and sciences. But if there had been a class for helping people, I would have got an F. The national education system in India, like in many parts of the world, is predicated on the idea of relative performance and competition, and this dominates our view of success. I didn't think it was possible to break out of this belief until I met two people 4 years back, Anju and Zabi, two kids nearly half my age. Anju, just 15 years old, lived in a village that did not send girls to school. But rather than try to move to a different village and get her education, she devoted her energy in changing the minds of people in her community. Her determination changed the system, and she has now helped more than 200 girls to enroll in school and become educated. Zabi, just 16, convinced his school principal to start an animal shelter in their school campus, where he and his fellow classmates have rescued more than 300 injured dogs to date. I was fascinated with Anju and Zabi. For the first time in my life, I met teenagers who cared deeply about others and took action to make things better. I certainly wasn't like them when I was in school, and neither were the kids I knew. So why was that? Why were Anju and Zabi the outliers and not the mainstream? The more I thought about it, it all pointed to our education systems and the extreme competitive pressure that is put on kids. You got good grades? Great, now get better grades. You made it into a good college? Fine, now get into a better college. Life becomes this competitive race, and this race engulfs children in an inward-looking, me-focused mindset, rather than developing an outward-looking, we-focused mindset. Children leave schools with impressive grades and certificates and get decent jobs, but they miss becoming empathetic, responsible, conscious citizens of this world. But should school systems choose between academic excellence and empathy and compassion? I didn't think so, and I chose to do something about it. I quit my job and started a social enterprise to try and tackle this issue. As part of our research, I read a lot about people who have dedicated their lives towards the betterment of society and how they developed their passion for it. That's when I was introduced to Bill Drayton. Bill is credited by many for coining the term social entrepreneur back in the 1970s. Ashoka, the nonprofit he founded, supports social entrepreneurs in more than 40 countries today. But what's interesting is this. When Bill was 11, he had started an initiative to help his classmates by creating a class newspaper. He skipped a lot of classes because of his strong commitment and wasn't even home most evenings. When Bill's mother died, he found correspondence between her and his school principal. His mother was concerned. She asked, "Why is our fifth grader not in your school or our home?" The school principal wrote back saying, "Trust your son, and please don't show you're anxious." Bill was unaware of this at the time, but when he thinks back on it, he says, "Bless that principal who encouraged my ability to make an impact in this world." We found two patterns in the stories of people like Bill. Number one, most develop their passion for creating change by going through an outward-centric change-making experience at a very young age. And number two, they had at least one adult who believed and supported them in their journey. Inspired by these learnings, our team designed a program for middle school and high school children. Our idea was to encourage the kids to identify social or environmental issues in their home, school, or community, support them as they took action to try and tackle these issues, and appreciate them for their efforts. Our role as facilitators was to do three simple things: encourage, support, and appreciate, or what we called the ESA framework in short. Who could be against such a program, right? Yet we couldn't convince a single school in the first 2 months. Schools rejected us outright, saying that they did not see any value and that children needed to focus solely on their academics. We finally offered the entire program to schools for free for an entire year to get them to try it out. Not an ideal start for us, but we took what we could get. If convincing schools and parents was tricky, thankfully, working with children was the exact opposite. Children loved our program. They quickly identified the problems they wanted to tackle and passionately got to work. Chandan, just 11 years old, told us, "I want everyone in my school to be physically fit." His school did not offer a physical fitness program, so he gathered a group of other 6th graders and started a student-run yoga class for everyone. Even 2 years since our program ended, the children still run their yoga class and in fact have expanded their initiative to 5 nearby schools. Incredible. Chandan's teacher recently told us that Chandan was an extremely shy kid at first, but once he got a platform to solve a problem he cared about, he discovered a new side of himself. Chandan is no longer that timid child. He's an empowered agent of change. Kirti, just 15, started the Code Red initiative to spread awareness about menstrual hygiene in underprivileged communities near her school. She was so successful that now, 3 years since our program, she's helping an NGO create awareness about cerebral palsy. Kirti recently told me, "In my 10 years of schooling, I never had an adult who encouraged me to think about helping my community. But as soon as I received that encouragement, my life changed, and now I want to continue tackling meaningful issues for the rest of my life." This was common amongst all the students. After working with more than 25,000 children over 3 years, our biggest realization was this: all children are born with empathy and compassion. The challenge is to remain with it as we grow up. These humane values can either thrive and flourish with encouragement and support from adults, or they can be completely stifled and suppressed, which is what happens through our education systems. Which one do we all want for our children, for our community? We have big problems today: political polarization, growing inequality, climate change. We must fundamentally change the way we are raising our children. We must set them free from this inward-looking, me-focused mindset to an outward-looking, we-focused mindset. Looking back, I don't believe my career would have been any less successful if I had more empathy and compassion as a child. But I can't help but wonder how much better the lives of my other young friends would have been. Would their careers be better? Would they have passed along the empathy they had experienced onto their own children? Academicians, researchers, and advocates are fighting to include empathy and compassion into the formal curriculum at the institutional level. And each one of us, you and me, can make a difference at the individual level. Implement ESA. Encourage the children in your life to think about and help others. Support them when they start something meaningful, and appreciate them for when they put in the efforts. Be their champion, the one who keeps their empathy alive, so that no matter who they become professionally or where they go in the future, they create a better world for everyone. Thank you very much.